Honorable members, I want to welcome you to this afternoon sitting.
On Tuesday, 25th February 2025, the Speaker, Anita Among, tasked the Ministry of Education and Sports to investigate and present a report on the recent cases of deaths of learners in schools.
There is a kid who got drowned in a swimming pool. Teachers really need to take responsibility once parents entrust children to them. You cannot have a kid who has never gone to a swimming pool, just pushed there and he gets drowned. It's a very bad thing. We had a kid who was slaughtered in Soroti and dumped in a pit latrine. And after removing that kid, there were 4 other skulls in the same latrine. We had a kid who committed suicide in Seta. I think we need to do a lot of parenting for our children, and the teachers equally need to help us with these children.
Almost every year, we lose students in mysterious ways. In my constituency, there is a time we buried a girl who just died in bed in one of the Mukono schools. There is a boy who was burnt in a certain school. We've seen these things in media, and I would like us as leaders and government to take action.
It's true, there have been those cases, and the police has taken it up, has started the investigations. We hope as a ministry that the report that will come from police will give us a direction. Our team has gone out and they're trying to do their best to see to it that all the minimum basic requirements are adhered to.
A school can only survive if its triangle is functioning very well. Parents, teachers, and the children. What we need to do as the Ministry of Education, and even our side, we can give support. Whether you have minimum standards, they must be improved.
During the sitting, Parliament deferred consideration of loan requests by government aimed at capitalizing Uganda Development Bank Limited.
The committee recommends the House to borrow up to $25 million shillings from OPEC Fund for International Development to capitalize UDB. The Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development did not table to the House or to the committee the draft financing agreement to support the borrowing of up to $100 million from Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa private window, $50 million from Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa private window. The committee is therefore constrained to recommend the approval of the proposal by government.
Article 159 of the Constitution provides that government may borrow from any source, and the terms and conditions of the loan shall be laid before Parliament and shall not come into operation unless they have been approved by a resolution of Parliament. This august House can only ascertain the terms and conditions of the facility in question by scrutinizing the draft financing agreement.
It is a good thing for us to give UDB the money. Let's not give UDB money in bits. If we decide to give, let's give. But what is important is let's have the information. Let's have an approval from the board, the due diligence. Then we will have these loans approved.
I beg that we stand over this report as I provide all the necessary information.
Also in the sitting, Parliament passed the Public Service Pension Fund Bill 2024 that will see public servants contribute 5% of their salaries to the pension scheme.
This bill is to provide for the establishment of a public service pension fund and a public service pension scheme, and provide for the governance, the functions, organization and management of the fund, to provide for the collection of contributions to the fund and payment of retirement benefits to pensioners and their survivors.
The committee recommends that the government should prioritize the enhancement of salaries to ensure that the 5% deduction of the employee's salary does not affect their take-home. Ultimately, government should revise salaries equally across the board in order to address the poor pay of public servants and the significant salary discrepancies between the different categories of civil servants.
I put a question that the Public Service Pension Fund Bill 2024 be read a third time and do pass. Those in favor say, and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the Public Service Pension Fund Act 2025.
Title settled and bill passed.
On Wednesday, 26 February 2025, government was urged to invest in ICT and science laboratories to improve student output and performance under the new lower secondary school curriculum.
Under this new curriculum, assessment is assumed to be competent-based. However, the reality on the ground is different. Competence learning calls for investment in school infrastructure development to handle learners' needs. For example, there should be availability of computer laboratories with electricity and internet, ICT lessons, well-equipped laboratories for science lessons, libraries for research work, learning materials and teachers' guidances.
UNEB examines students in computer literacy. Many of our schools in the villages, including seed schools, lack computer labs.
But leave alone lacking computer labs. Do they have power?
That's where I'm coming. Those that have power lack computer labs. Those that don't have power lack both computer labs, computers, and actually the power. And these are examinable courses.
Honorable Musasi, what would it cost us if we handle the rare projects that were not completed the way we are handling the roads, by giving each district say 1 billion to finalize on the rare?
When I am reporting on the NDP4, I will accompany the NDP4 with the feedback from the request of the House.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the sitting, the Speaker, Anita Among, called on Ugandans to be champions of environmental conservation in their communities.
You must have experienced the unusual high temperatures and humidity in various parts of the country. This is a reminder that climate change is real. And unless we come out as leaders and take a deliberate mitigating measures, we remain at risk. We must invest in our time and efforts to ensure that we rescue the environment by conservation.
The heat wave is real, and most of the things you are experiencing now are caused by human activities. We really need to take action to address some of these challenges.
As a government, as a ministry, we had really requested for a modest budget so that colleagues, the members of parliament, who are here, who are supposed to lead by example in their constituency, are provided with seedlings. Unfortunately, that budget was slashed.
During the sitting, the Speaker also led the House in praying for the Pope's health.
We as Parliament of Uganda, we want to join the millions of believers out there to pray for his faster recovery. When you read Psalms 32, it says, Lord, my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me. On behalf of Parliament of Uganda, and on my own behalf, we want to join the global Catholic fraternity and all the people of goodwill to relay our heartfelt get well wishes to the Holy Father.
On Thursday, 27th February 2025, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development was tasked to avail the necessary funding to facilitate the elections of administrative units and women councils during the 2026 general elections.
The committee recommends that, given Cabinet's directive to align the elections of administrative units and women councils with the general elections with effect from the next general elections of 2026, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should commit and avail the necessary funds for these processes. Recommendation number 2, the Electoral Commission should update its 2026 general election roadmap in line with the Cabinet directive. Recommendation number 3, since the extensions of term of office of the administrative unit councils have been purely due to the inability of the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to provide the necessary funds, and the fact that they disregarded the committee's invitation, the Minister of Finance should assure this August House that this time around they comply with the directive of Cabinet and the recommendations of this committee.
During the sitting, the Speaker, Anita Among, announced the election of the Deputy Speaker, Tue.25, as the President of the Organization of Africa, Caribbean and Pacific States Parliamentary Assembly.
On Tuesday, 25th February 2025, the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Tue.25, with the secondment of Parliament of Uganda, was elected as the chairman of ACP. Yes, that is African, Caribbean and Pacific States. This multilateral organization brings together about 79 countries and the co-presidents of OACPS, the European Union Joint Parliamentary Assembly. This was a vote of confidence to the Parliament of Uganda. I want to congratulate Honorable Right Honorable Tue.25 for achieving this position.
Also in the sitting, the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Ssenyonyi, demanded that action be taken against security personnel who attacked and injured a top TV journalist, Ibrahim Miracle.
This afternoon, I passed by hospital to visit a journalist called Miracle Ibra. He's a top television journalist who was brutalized yesterday. His eye was shattered. Yesterday we went for the nomination of my party's candidate, one Arias Luimbazi Nalukola, for the Kawempe North by-election. Honorable Speaker, after the nomination, the candidate was assaulted, taken away. A couple of people were picked up and others brutalized. This particular journalist was descended onto by men in JAT uniform. JAT is Joint Anti-Terrorist Task Force. These are people who are meant to go out there and deal with terrorists. So we would want to understand what is JAT doing, being involved in such a process. Why are they picking up people, beating them up, beating up journalists?
We sympathize with the person who has been injured, and also to note that some of these actions are not sanctioned by government, but also it is important, you can imagine now, it's important that when you come on the floor of the House, you come at least with some details so that we know where to start from.
I now adjourn the House to 2 p.m. on Tuesday.